The designer heel hung in the air for just a second. Then it connected with Hannah's pregnant belly in front of a packed courtroom. Cameras flashed. Blood spread across the marble floor. And the judge gripping his gavel? He had no idea he was watching his own daughter fight for her life. But how did a small-town nurse end up married to a tech billionaire with a deadly secret? Why did his mistress attack her in front of dozens of witnesses? And what does a 30-year-old locket have to do with the most powerful judge in Seattle? This is the story of a woman who discovered too late that her fairy tale romance was actually a carefully constructed trap. A woman who found out she wasn't her husband's first pregnant wife to mysteriously fall from a balcony. A woman who had 72 hours to expose a murderer before losing her baby forever. What happened in that courtroom set off a chain of events that would expose corruption, reveal a father-daughter connection 3 decades in the making, and prove that sometimes the most dangerous place for a woman isn't a dark alley. It's her own home. This is Hannah's story, and trust me, you need to hear every single word. If stories of real courage and survival matter to you, stick around until the end. And if this one moves you, let me know in the comments. Your support helps these untold stories reach the women who need to hear them most. Now let's go back to where it all began. The designer heel connected with Hannah Miller's pregnant belly in slow motion. Sound cut out completely. Just her heartbeat. Just the bass thud of impact. Just her scream tearing through the Seattle courthouse. Hannah hit the polished floor, hands clutching her stomach. Warm fluid spread beneath her. Blood followed. Cameras flashed like lightning. The woman in white stood over her, chest heaving, perfectly manicured hands still clenched into fists. Judge Samuel Hayes gripped his gavel so hard the wood cracked. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. 48 hours earlier, Hannah finished her night shift at Seattle Children's Hospital with aching feet and an exhausted mind. 7 months pregnant made everything harder. The elevator ride down felt endless. Her scrub smelled like antiseptic in the cafeteria's burnt coffee. She touched the silver locket at her throat. Her mother's locket, the only thing Laura Miller had left her before dying 3 years ago. Hannah wore it every single day. Her phone buzzed. Sarah Mitchell, her best friend. "Coffee tomorrow. You sound tired, honey." Hannah smiled despite her exhaustion. Sarah always knew, always cared. The Sunrise Diner owner had been her rock for 5 years. "I'm okay," Hannah texted back. "Just pregnancy tired." But it wasn't just pregnancy. Hannah drove home to the penthouse she still couldn't believe she lived in. Marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay. A home that cost more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes as a nurse. Grant Donovan's home, her husband. She remembered the night they met. 2 years ago, hospital break room, 3 in the morning. Hannah had just lost a patient, 7-year-old boy, cancer. She'd been sobbing in the empty room when Grant appeared in the doorway. He didn't speak immediately, didn't offer empty platitudes, just sat beside her and handed her his handkerchief. Old-fashioned, gentlemanly. "I lost my mother when I was 7, he'd said quietly. "Cancer. The nurse who held my hand looked like you. Kind eyes. She stayed past her shift just to sit with me. I never forgot her." Hannah had looked up, surprised by his vulnerability. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. She taught me that kindness matters, that people like you matter. That's why I donate to this hospital. It's never enough to repay people like her. People like you." His eyes had seemed genuinely warm. Wounded. Sincere. Grant Donovan, tech billionaire, self-made man, Forbes lists and charity galas. He'd been touring the new wing he'd donated when he found her crying. He'd asked her to coffee when you're greedy. Hannah had resisted at first. "I don't date men like you." "Men like what?" "I'm just a guy who thinks you're extraordinary." The courtship had been patient. Flowers to the hospital, handwritten notes. He'd listened to her stories about difficult patients and remembered small details. Made her laugh when she thought she'd forgotten how. 6 months later, they married. Small ceremony. Sarah as maid of honor. Grant's vows still echoed in Hannah's memory. "You saw the real me when no one else did. I'll spend my life protecting you." She'd believed him. The first red flag came subtly. After they moved into his penthouse, Grant suggested she quit nursing. "Let me take care of you. You've worked so hard for so long. But I love my job, and I love you. Isn't that enough? His smile hadn't quite reached his eyes, but Hannah dismissed it. Pregnancy hormones. Overthinking. Then she got pregnant. Unplanned. Grant's reaction had been enthusiastic at first. Kissed her, spun her around, but then came the words that began her cage. This is perfect. Now you definitely don't need to work. Focus on our baby. Hannah quit the hospital, turned in her badge with a sadness she couldn't name. The isolation started slowly. Grant gave her a credit card. Use this for everything. But he monitored every purchase. $50 at Sarah's diner? That seems excessive. I was just having lunch with my friend. I'm not criticizing, baby. I'm just watching our budget. For the baby. He tracked her phone. I worry about you. What if something happens to you and our child? When friends called, he hovered. Who is it? What did they want? Gradually, Hannah stopped answering calls. Sarah noticed. At the diner 2 weeks ago, she'd confronted Hannah. Honey, you used to light up a room. Now you look smaller. I'm just tired. Pregnancy is hard. It's not the pregnancy, it's him. I see how he looks at you, like he owns you. Hannah had gotten defensive. He loves me. He takes care of me. A man who loves you wants to lift you up, not lock you down. You don't understand him. Maybe, but I understand you, and you're disappearing. Hannah had left upset, but Sarah's words lingered like smoke. Then came the hotel receipt. Hannah found it doing laundry, the Bellevue, presidential suite. She'd confronted Grant gently. Were you at a hotel? Grant exploded, first time she'd seen real anger. You're going through my things, invading my privacy? This is exactly why I can't trust you. I wasn't invading, I was just doing laundry. The pregnancy hormones are making you paranoid. You need help, he'd stormed out, returned hours later with flowers and apologies. I'm sorry, work stress. I love you, forget the hotel, it was a business meeting. Hannah wanted to believe him, but she found lipstick on his collar the next day. Red, not her shade. She didn't confront him again. Too afraid. The restaurant encounter happened 3 days ago. Sarah insisted they have lunch. You need to get out. Hannah saw Grant across the dining room with a stunning woman. Polished, glamorous. Everything Hannah felt she wasn't, especially 7 months pregnant. They were laughing intimately. The woman touched his arm. Hannah's stomach dropped. Grant saw her watching. Came over smoothly. Hannah, what a coincidence. This is Bella Hart, my business partner. We're working on the new tech acquisition. Bella extended her hand with a razor smile. So you're the wife. Grant talks about you constantly. Her eyes raked over Hannah's pregnant body. Must be so hard carrying all that weight. I could never let myself go like that. But I suppose it's different when you're settled. Hannah was speechless, humiliated. Sarah jumped in. Hannah looks beautiful. Pregnancy suits her. Bella touched Hannah's belly uninvited. Oh, I'm sure Grant is thrilled. He always wanted a family. Eventually, the implication hung heavy. With someone else. Bella and Grant left together. Hannah broke down. Did you hear what she said? I heard, and I saw the way he looked at her. That wasn't business, Hannah. That night, Hannah confronted Grant about Bella. Are you seriously jealous of a business colleague? This is embarrassing. The way she touched you. The way she touched me? Or the way you're imagining things because you're insecure? I'm not imagining. Look at yourself, Hannah. You're a mess, hair unwashed, sweatpants, crying over nothing. Do you know how exhausting it is to deal with your constant neediness? He walked away, left her shattered in the living room. The next morning, Grant's attorney arrived. Slick suit, cold eyes, presented a post-nuptial agreement. If they divorced, Hannah got nothing. Mr. Donovan wants to protect the baby's inheritance. Surely you understand. This says I have no claim to anything, even things I brought into the marriage. You brought a 2007 Honda Civic in student debt. Mr. Donovan brought a billion-dollar empire. Sign, and we can all move forward. No, I won't sign this. The attorney's smile vanished. I'll inform Mr. Donovan of your decision. That night, Hannah packed a small bag while Grant was supposedly at the office. Called Sarah to pick her up. Just as she zipped the suitcase, she heard the lock turn. Grant walked in early, saw the packed bag. His face went completely cold, scarier than anger. Going somewhere? Grant, I think we need some space. He walked to the door, locked it from inside, pocketed the key, took her phone from her hand. Space? You think you can leave me? You think anyone will believe you over me? He backed her against the wall, hands on either side of her head, not touching her, but trapping her. I'm Grant Donovan. You're a nobody. I made you somebody. This baby is mine, and you? You're nothing without me. His face was inches from hers, voice deadly calm. If you try to leave again, I'll make sure you never see this child. Do you understand? Hannah froze, terrified. He released her, smoothed his hair, adjusted his tie. I'm going to bed. Unpack your things. We'll forget this happened. Hannah stood shaking as he walked away. She realized in that moment, I'm trapped. Hannah waited until Grant left for work. Her hands shook as she called Sarah. Come get me, please, right now. Sarah didn't ask questions. 15 minutes later, Hannah was in the passenger seat of Sarah's old pickup truck, heading to the legal aid clinic downtown. Jesus, Hannah, you're shaking. He threatened me last night, said I'd never see my baby if I tried to leave. Sarah's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. That son of a... I need help. I don't know what to do. The legal aid clinic smelled like old carpet in desperation. Hannah sat across from Mary Collins, a tired-looking public defender with kind eyes and too many case files. Tell me everything, Mary said. Hannah did. The isolation, the control, the threats, the night he trapped her against the wall. Mary listened without interrupting. Then she nodded slowly. We're filing for an emergency protective order, divorce, and custody arrangements. He's going to fight this. Men like him always do. Are you ready? Hannah placed both hands on her pregnant belly, felt her daughter kick. I have to be, for my baby. The paperwork took hours. By the time they finished, Hannah was exhausted, but determined. The hearing is in 2 days, Mary said. Thursday morning. Family court. Be prepared for media attention. Grant Donovan's name brings cameras. Hannah hadn't thought about that. The idea of cameras made her nauseous, but there was no other way. Sarah drove her to the diner, fixed her soup she couldn't eat, and tea she sipped slowly. You're doing the right thing, Sarah said firmly. You're so brave. Hannah didn't feel brave. She felt terrified. Her phone buzzed constantly. Grant calling, texting. She didn't answer. Mary had advised her not to communicate directly. Finally, a voicemail. Grant's voice smooth as poison. Hannah, baby, whatever's happening, we can work it out. Come home. Let's talk like adults. I love you. She deleted it. The next 2 days passed in a blur. Hannah stayed at Sarah's apartment above the diner, slept fitfully. Every car door closing made her jump. Every footstep in the hallway sent her heart racing. Thursday morning arrived too quickly. Outside Seattle Family Court, media frenzy waited. Reporters, cameras, satellite trucks. Grant's PR team had been busy. Leaked stories about Hannah's emotional instability appeared overnight in gossip columns. Tech billionaire's wife files for divorce. Sources say she's struggling with pregnancy mental health. Hannah arrived with only Mary beside her. She wore a simple maternity dress, no makeup, looked vulnerable and exhausted. Then Grant arrived. Designer suit, perfectly styled hair, and Bella heart on his arm. The audacity shocked everyone. Cameras exploded. Grant and Bella posed like they were at a gala, smiling, confident. A reporter shouted, Mr. Donovan, why is Miss Hart here today? Bella is my business partner and friend. She's here to support me through this difficult time. They walked in together, Bella's hand possessively on his arm. Inside the courtroom, Hannah felt small. High ceilings, cold fluorescent lights, wood paneling that absorbed sound. Judge Samuel Hayes presided. Silver hair, stern reputation. Fair, people said. Hannah took her seat at the petitioner's table, nervously touched the silver locket at her throat. Samuel's eyes caught the locket. His face went absolutely pale. For just a second, memory flashed. Young Samuel placing that exact locket on young Laura's neck 30 years ago. So you'll always have my heart. Back to present, Samuel gripped the bench, struggling to maintain composure. He knew that locket. He'd given it to Laura Miller 3 decades ago, his Laura. who disappeared pregnant and alone. His eyes moved from the locket to Hannah's face. Saw Laura's features. The age would be right. She'd be 29 if Laura was pregnant when she left. He was visibly shaken, but forced himself to focus. "Let's begin," he said, voice slightly strained. Mary presented Hannah's case. Financial control, isolation, threats. She was methodical, professional. But Hannah could see Mary was nervous. Grant's attorney was expensive, slick, $3,000 suit. And the defense countered smoothly. "Mrs. Donovan suffers from pregnancy-induced anxiety. She's misinterpreting normal marital dynamics." They brought an expert witness. A psychiatrist clearly paid off. Pregnant women often experience paranoid delusions. Hormonal changes can create false memories of abuse. The courtroom shifted uncomfortably. This felt wrong. Hannah testified, voice shaking but clear. Described the isolation, the control. "The night he trapped her. He told me I was nothing, that he owned this baby, that I'd never escape him." Bella, sitting behind Grant, rolled her eyes, mouthed, "Liar." Judge Hayes gave her a warning look. Hannah continued testifying, describing how Grant monitored her every movement, how he'd slowly cut her off from friends, how the hotel receipt led to his first explosion of rage. "He made me feel crazy," Hannah said quietly, "made me doubt my own reality." Grant's attorney stood. "Your Honor, if I may, Mrs. Donovan has a history of emotional fragility. She left a demanding job as a pediatric nurse because she couldn't handle the stress. Her own best friend will testify that Mrs. Donovan has expressed regret about the pregnancy." "That's a lie," Hannah said. The judge raised his hand. "Mrs. Donovan, please." Grant's attorney smiled, confident. "We have a deposition from Sarah Mitchell stating that Mrs. Donovan felt trapped by the pregnancy, that she sometimes wished she could make it all go away." Hannah's heart stopped. "Sarah would never say that." "Would she?" Mary objected. "Your Honor, we haven't seen this deposition. It was filed this morning. We're happy to provide copies." The hearing was falling apart. Hannah could feel it. The expensive lawyers were twisting everything, making her sound unstable, making Grant sound concerned. Then Bella stood up. "She's lying. She's a gold-digging whore who trapped him with a baby." Judge Hayes slammed his gavel. "Miss Hart, sit down or I will hold you in contempt." Bella didn't sit. She was unhinged, furious. "She's trying to ruin him. I won't let her." Bella rushed forward toward Hannah. Everything happened in slow motion. Multiple angles. Bella's face twisted with rage. Her designer heel arcing toward Hannah's belly. Hannah's eyes widening in horror. Samuel half standing from the bench, frozen. Grant's face showing a micro-expression of satisfaction, quickly masked. Sound cut completely, just Hannah's heartbeat. Impact, bass drop, visceral thud. Hannah's scream pierced the silence. Real-time returned. Chaos erupted. Hannah collapsed, hands clutching her belly, fluid and blood spreading on the courtroom floor. The bailiff tackled Bella to the ground, Mary screaming, "Get a doctor, now!" Grant didn't move toward Hannah, just stood there, watching. The court reporter's camera still rolling. Samuel's hand gripping his gavel so hard it shook. His face showed far more emotion than a judge should display. "Clear the courtroom. Someone call an ambulance." Hannah curled on the floor crying, "My baby, please, my baby." Paramedics burst through the doors, lifted Hannah onto a gurney. Samuel watched with anguished eyes, hand reaching out, then pulling back. He couldn't reveal their connection. The last thing Hannah saw before they wheeled her out was Grant's face. Completely calm, almost satisfied, then darkness. Fluorescent lights flashed overhead as paramedics rushed Hannah down hospital corridors. Monitors beeped frantically. Doctors called out medical jargon Hannah only half understood through her panic. Fetal distress, possible placental abruption. They strapped her to monitors in the emergency room. An ultrasound technician pressed the wand against her belly, searched for the heartbeat. Long, terrible silence. Then, faint, irregular heartbeat detected. "It's weak," the doctor said. "We need to monitor constantly. If it gets worse, we deliver now at 28 weeks. "Will she survive?" Hannah asked through tears. "I don't know." Hannah was alone in the hospital room, completely alone. Sarah hadn't been allowed in yet. Grant's lawyers had somehow restricted visitors to immediate family only. She overheard nurses in the hallway. If she loses the baby, it's homicide. That woman will go to prison. Hannah closed her eyes, tears streaming. The thought of her baby dying destroyed her, but knowing Bella might face real consequences felt like cold comfort. It wouldn't bring her daughter back. The hospital room filled with Grant's lawyers, 3 of them in expensive suits. They served Hannah with emergency custody papers. Mother endangered child by provoking Miss Hart in courtroom setting, the head lawyer said. I didn't provoke her. She attacked me. Your version. Witnesses will testify differently. Mr. Donovan is prepared to take full custody the moment the child is born. You'll have supervised visitation 1 hour per week. Sign here to accept, or fight us and lose completely. They left the papers on her bed and exited. Hannah's phone rang. Grant. She almost didn't answer. But some desperate part of her hoped he'd show remorse, show humanity. If that baby survives, you'll never see her again, Grant said, voice cold and measured. I have 50 lawyers. You have 1 tired public defender. You have already lost. How can you do this? Because I can. Sign the papers, Hannah, or I'll make sure you're charged with child endangerment. Your choice, but He hung up. Hannah dropped the phone, hands trembling. This was rock bottom. Broken, alone, terrified. She lay in the hospital bed staring at the ceiling. The fetal monitor beeped steadily beside her. Each beep was a thread of hope. Every slight irregularity made her heart stop. She placed both hands on her belly. Felt weak kicks. Please hold on. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The television in the waiting area was visible through her open door. News coverage. Dramatic scene today as tech billionaire Grant Donovan's estranged wife was attacked in court. Video shows the altercation, though sources close to Mr. Donovan suggest Mrs. Donovan may have instigated. Hannah couldn't even muster anger. She was completely hollowed out. Around midnight, she pulled out her mother's locket, opened it, faded photo of her mother as a young woman, smiling. Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fight him. She fell into exhausted, fitful sleep. Morning came. Sarah burst into the hospital room furious. Those bastards told me family only. I said I am family. She brought Hannah her phone, showed her something, viral video on social media, unedited courtroom footage. Someone, probably the court reporter, had leaked the real security camera angle. 15 million views in 12 hours. It showed clearly Hannah sitting calmly, Bella rushing forward unprovoked. The vicious kick, comments flooded in. Hashtag justice for Hannah trending. The whole country is seeing the truth, honey. People are on your side. Hannah watched the video, tears falling. For the first time, she allowed herself a flicker of hope. News montages played, anchors condemning Bella, questioning Grant. Women's rights groups protesting outside Grant's office building. Social media flooded with support. Pregnant women are vulnerable. Believe Hannah. Celebrity tweets defending her. Grant's company stock dropped 8%. Mary arrived with an update. The prosecutor is considering assault charges against Bella. The video is undeniable evidence. Public opinion is swinging our way. Grant's team is panicking. They're making mistakes. Hannah, cautiously hopeful. Does this mean? It means you have a fighting chance. More than you did yesterday. The doctor came in with positive news. Baby's heartbeat has stabilized. She's a fighter. If you can make it through the next 48 hours, odds improve significantly. Hannah sobbed with relief. Sarah held her hand. See, your little girl is strong, just like her mama. Hannah allowed herself to believe. Maybe I can win this. Maybe my baby will be okay. Maybe Grant doesn't always win. That night, Judge Samuel Hayes sat alone in his chambers, pacing, unable to stop thinking about the locket. He pulled out an old file from a locked drawer. Missing person report from 1995. Laura Miller. Photos of young Laura wearing that exact locket. Letters she'd written him before disappearing. He searched public records on his computer. Found Hannah Miller. Date of birth matched exactly 9 months after Laura vanished. Mother listed as Laura Miller. Deceased 2021. His hands shook as the pieces fell into place. My daughter, he whispered, overwhelmed. Grief for Laura, shock at finding Hannah, fear for her safety. He made a decision, ordered expedited DNA tests through his connections, called a private medical lab. I need complete discretion and results in 12 hours. Late evening, Samuel appeared at Hannah's hospital room. She was surprised to see the judge. Miss Miller, I hope you don't mind the intrusion. I wanted to check on your condition. That's very kind, but is this allowed? Probably not, but I need to ask you something personal. He sat carefully. Your mother, Laura Miller, did she ever speak about your father? Hannah was confused. She never would. I asked my whole childhood. She'd just say he's gone and change the subject. What if I told you he might not be gone? What if there might be things about your family you don't know? I don't understand. That locket, where did you get it? Hannah touched it instinctively. My mother's. She wore it every day of her life. Left it to me when she died. Samuel's eyes filled with tears. I gave that locket to Laura Miller 30 years ago, before she disappeared, before I ever knew she was pregnant. Silence. Hannah processed this. You think you're my father? I'd like to find out. Would you consent to a DNA test? Why? Why now? Why does it matter? Because if I'm right, you're not alone anymore, and I have resources to fight him, but I need to know for certain. Hannah, exhausted and desperate, nodded. Samuel performed a quick cheek swab himself. I'll have answers tomorrow. Until then, try to rest. He stood to leave. If you are... Where were you? Samuel's voice broke. Looking for her. For 30 years I searched. I never stopped loving her. He left. Hannah stared after him, processing this impossible possibility. 24 hours later, Grant's PR machine launched a devastating counterattack. A new video went viral. Expertly edited footage that made it look like Hannah lurched toward Bella first. Professional editing, subtle but convincing. Side-by-side comparison videos appeared. Watch her body language. She's aggressive. Paid witnesses came forward. A courthouse janitor, clearly paid off. I saw Mrs. Donovan screaming at Miss Hart in the hallway before they entered. She was out of control. A random courthouse visitor. The pregnant lady looked unstable. She was muttering to herself. Another witness. I heard her say, I'll make you pay to Miss Hart. All lies, but convincing on camera. Grant appeared on a sympathetic talk show, looking broken and sincere, tears in his eyes. I still love Hannah. I'm worried about her mental state. Pregnancy can be so difficult on a woman's mind. I just want our baby safe and Hannah to get help. The host leaned forward. Some are calling you a monster. I understand, but those who know me know I've dedicated my life to helping others. Check my charitable record. I've donated millions to women's health care. Why would I harm the mother of my child? The performance was Oscar-worthy. Even the host seemed convinced. Bella appeared on a different show, dressed in soft pink, no makeup, looking fragile, dabbing tears with tissue. I never meant to hurt her. I was terrified. She was screaming. I thought she was going to attack Mr. Donovan. I reacted on instinct. I feel terrible. I pray for that baby every single night. You were defending yourself? I was scared. I know it looks bad, but you weren't there. You didn't see her face, she cried convincingly. Public sympathy began shifting. Social media swung against Hannah. New hashtags, hashtag Hannah lied, hashtag Team Grant, hashtag Bella is victim. Comments flooded in. Gold digger trying to destroy a good man. She probably provoked the attack for sympathy. Pregnant women manipulate with tears. Hannah watched her phone in horror as support evaporated. Mary called with terrible news. The judge assigned to your case is considering dismissing the protective order. He says the new evidence shows mutual conflict. But that's not what happened. I know, but they've created doubt, and doubt is all they need. Samuel called Hannah with news that should have been joyful. The DNA results came back. Hannah, I'm your father. Hannah stared at the phone. Found my father. About to lose everything. You're really my father. Yes. I found my father and I'm about to lose everything. No, now you have someone who will fight for you. You're a judge. What can you do? I have connections. Lawyers, resources, I won't let him destroy you. But even as he said it, they both felt the weight of Grant's power. Hope ripped away just as it appeared. Despair returned. Hannah couldn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Bella's face, heard Grant's voice on the phone, felt the panic of being trapped. She knew with horrible certainty that this wasn't over. Grant wouldn't stop until he'd destroyed her completely. Mary Collins couldn't sleep either. Something felt wrong. She sat at her kitchen table at 2 in the morning, laptop open, digging into Grant's past. Public records, news articles, court filings. Then she found it. Previous wife, Jennifer Reynolds, 26 years old at death. Death certificate ruled it suicide. Jumped from penthouse balcony. Date, 5 years ago. Mary's blood ran cold when she noticed. Jennifer was 26 weeks pregnant. Same pattern as Hannah. The medical examiner's report was suspicious but closed quickly. Large donation made to police department, charitable fund 1 week later. Mary called a detective friend who'd worked the case. That case was shut down from above, her friend said nervously. We were told to close it. The lead detective was forced off. Who was the detective? Michael Rhodes. He was convinced it was murder. They reassigned him to traffic duty until he quit. Mary tracked down Michael Rhodes. 52, former Seattle police detective, now a private investigator, bitter but principled. I've waited 5 years for someone to ask about Jennifer Donovan, he said. He opened a box of files he'd kept against regulations. Bruising patterns didn't match a jump. She had defensive wounds on her hands, and the railing was too high. She couldn't have accidentally fallen. He showed photos. Crime scene. Jennifer's body positioned wrong. I found a witness, building security guard, who saw Grant and a woman leaving the building at 3 in the morning the night Jennifer died. When I tried to interview the woman, my captain pulled me off the case. Describe the woman. Blonde, early 30s, expensive clothes. He showed an old security photo, grainy but recognizable. Bella Hart. She's been with him for at least 5 years, Mary whispered. And she was there the night his wife died. Mary showed Hannah the file the next day, triggered a visualization in Hannah's mind. 5 years ago, Grant's penthouse, night, Jennifer Donovan, 26, pregnant, terrified on the balcony. Phone in hand, trying to dial 911, hands shaking. Behind her, the penthouse doors opened. Grant and Bella stepped onto the balcony. Jennifer turned, defensive. Stay away from me. Grant, calm and cold. Jennifer, give me the phone. Let's talk about this. I'm calling the police. I have evidence of everybody, the affairs, the hidden money, the threats. I'm not signing your papers. Bella stepped closer. Grant, we can't let her wait. You brought your mistress to threaten me? She's not. Jennifer, be reasonable. Think about the baby. I'm thinking about the baby. That's why I'm leaving you. Jennifer backed toward the railing. Phone clutched to chest. Grant moved quickly, reached for the phone. Don't touch me. Struggle over the phone. Or was he pushing her? The angle obscured the exact moment. Jennifer's scream, sickening silence. Grant and Bella leaned over the railing, looking down. Bella's face shocked but not surprised. What do we do? Bella whispered. Grant, already calculating. We were never here. We were at the cabin, remember? All night. Grant. Do you want to go to prison, Bella? Because if you don't back me up, we both go down. Bella nodded, terrified. They cleaned the scene, wiped the railing, awoke Jennifer's phone, left through the service elevator. Back to present. Hannah's face, horrified. I'm living her last days, Hannah whispered. He has a pattern, Mary said. Pregnant wife becomes inconvenient. He eliminates her, makes it look like accident or suicide. He's going to kill me. Not if we stop him first. They met in Hannah's hospital room. Mary, Rhodes, Sarah, building a case. Rhodes brought files. Financial records showing offshore payments to the medical examiner. Mary brought more. I found Grant's former driver, David Ross. He's scared but willing to talk. David Ross entered. 45. Nervous. I drove them to the cabin that night. Grant paid me $100,000 to forget, but I can't forget anymore. I have GPS logs, receipts, everything. Nurse Helen Carter entered next, 62 years old, determined eyes. I was Jennifer's nurse 5 years ago. I saw bruises. I tried to report them. The attending physician who was on Grant's payroll told me to drop it. I was warned I'd lose my job. She placed a folder on the bed. I kept copies of everything I wasn't supposed to keep. Photos, my notes, injury reports. Hannah looked at them, overwhelmed. Why are you all doing this? Helen's voice was firm. Because I've carried guilt for 5 years. I won't let him kill another pregnant woman. Rhodes added, because I became a cop to stop men like him. David said quietly, because I have daughters, and they deserve a world where men like Grant Donovan don't win. For the first time, Hannah felt supported, not alone. Samuel arrived with official DNA results, handed Hannah the document. Result, 99.9% probability of paternity. Hannah stared at the paper, hands trembling. You're really my father. Yes. They embraced, awkward, emotional, decades of loss in one moment. I looked for her, Samuel said, crying, for both of you. Every year on your birthday, a birthday I didn't even know was happening, I wondered. She never told me. Why? My family was powerful, wealthy. They threatened her, told her she wasn't good enough for me. I think she ran to protect you from them. She protected me from a father who would have loved me. She didn't know I'd have chosen her. I would have given up everything. Hannah sobbed into his shoulder. I thought I had no one. I thought I was alone. Never again. I'm here now, and I'll protect you and my granddaughter with everything I have. Samuel used his connections to bring in a top lawyer, Catherine Shaw, 50s, legendary civil rights attorney. Judge Hayes called in a favor. I've taken down men more powerful than Grant Donovan. She reviewed the case with Mary. We have criminal evidence now. Financial fraud, possible murder conspiracy. This isn't just family court anymore. This is federal. Rhodes spoke up. I have FBI contacts who've been waiting for evidence to move on Donovan. Catherine nodded. Then let's give them what they need. They assembled evidence, financial records, witness testimony, medical files, GPS data. We're going to bury him, Catherine said. The doctor brought amazing news. Your baby is out of danger. Heartbeat is strong and regular. We're going to make it to full term. Hannah cried with relief. Samuel held her hand. She's going to be okay? She's a fighter, just like her mother. That evening, Hannah sat up in her hospital bed. Samuel on one side, Sarah on the other. Mary and Catherine showing her the case they'd built. Evidence spread across the bed. Can we really win? Hannah asked. Catherine's voice was confident. With this evidence, absolutely. Grant is going to prison, Bella is going to prison, and you're going to raise your daughter in peace, Hannah allowed herself to believe. For the first time, I think I might actually win. Samuel squeezed her hand. We're going to destroy him. Together. Hannah let herself hope. Plan. Imagine a future, her baby healthy, Grant in prison, freedom. This was false victory. She believed she'd won. She had no idea what was coming. Grant's investigators discovered Samuel was Hannah's father within 24 hours. Emergency meeting with his legal team in a conference room overlooking Seattle. This is perfect, Grant's lawyer said. The judge had a conflict of interest the entire time. They filed a motion to have Samuel removed for bias. But worse, they dug into Samuel's past, found a mistake from 20 years ago. Samuel had dismissed evidence in a high-profile case, honest mistake. But it cost an innocent man years in prison before being corrected. Never publicly disclosed, but documented. Grant's team approached Samuel privately before court. Back off or we expose this. Your legacy destroyed. Possible disbarment. Is one case worth your entire career? Samuel had no choice. In court, emergency hearing, Grant's team filed motion for immediate recusal. Courtroom packed with media. Your Honor, we've discovered you have a biological relationship with the petitioner. This represents a clear conflict of interest. We move for your immediate recusal and dismissal of all prior rulings. Gasps in the courtroom. Cameras flashed. Hannah, sitting in the gallery, was confused. She didn't know this would be public. Samuel tried to maintain composure. The biological relationship was only recently discovered through DNA testing. However, to ensure fairness, I will recuse myself from this case. Grant's attorney pressed. Furthermore, we move that all protective orders issued under your authority be vacated immediately pending reassignment. That would leave Mrs. Miller vulnerable. With all due respect, Your Honor's concern proves our point. You're biased. New judge assigned, quickly, suspiciously quickly, possibly influenced by Grant's team. Protective order expired immediately. Hannah legally vulnerable to Grant for the first time since filing. Court adjourned. Samuel stepped down from the bench, tried to approach Hannah. Bailiff stopped him. Can't have contact during case transition, Your Honor. Samuel and Hannah locked eyes across the courtroom. Hannah whispered. He couldn't hear but read her lips. You're my father? Samuel mouthed back. Yes, I'm sorry. He was forced to leave without explaining, without comforting her. Father and daughter acknowledged each other in the worst possible circumstances. Hannah stood alone in the courtroom, processing. Sarah rushed to her. Come on, honey, we need to get you somewhere safe. That evening, Catherine Shaw appeared at the hospital room. She looked shaken, afraid. Hannah, I'm sorry. I have to withdraw from your case. What? Why? Grant's team went after my family. My daughter is in medical school. They threatened to expose fabricated plagiarism charges. My son's business. They'll destroy it with frivolous lawsuits. Tears in her eyes. I've never backed down from a fight in my life, but I can't sacrifice my children. I'm sorry. She left. Mary was sole lawyer again, back where they started. Mary tried to sound confident. We can still do this. But her voice wavered. She was terrified. Next morning, Sarah appeared at the hospital, looking devastated. Hannah, I need to talk to you. What's wrong? Grant's lawyers came to the diner. They offered me $500,000 to testify against you. Hannah felt hurt pierce through her. You wouldn't. I said no, but then they threatened my business. Health code violations. All fake, but they'll shut me down. And my mother, she's in a nursing home. They said they'd have her moved to state facility. Cut her care. Sarah was crying. I can't lose everything, Hannah. The diner is all I have. My mother needs me. So what are you saying? They subpoenaed me. I have to testify tomorrow. And if I don't say what they want, they'll destroy me. Sarah, please. I'm so sorry. Sarah left, sobbing. Hannah had now lost her father, lost her top lawyer, lost her best friend, completely alone again. The deposition happened at Grant's lawyer's office. Sarah sat at a conference table, surrounded by Grant's legal team. Video deposition being recorded. Miss Mitchell, you've known Hannah Miller for how long? Sarah's voice was dead. 5 years. And in that time, did she ever express resentment about her pregnancy? Pause, tears falling. Yes. What did she say? She said she felt trapped, that the baby was ruining her life. Did she ever express violent thoughts? Barely audible. She said she sometimes wished she could make it all go away. All lies, forced, but on video testimony. Thank you, Miss Mitchell. That will be all. Sarah left, got into her car, broke down completely. That afternoon, Grant's lawyers returned to Hannah's hospital room with a final contract. Hannah was alone. No one to advise her. Mrs. Donovan, this is our final offer. Terms. Hannah relinquishes all custody rights. Supervised visitation 1 hour per week. No child support. Permanent gag order. Can never speak about Grant publicly. If she refuses, criminal charges for assault. They'll claim she provoked Bella. You have until 6 this evening. After that, we proceed with charges. You could face prison time. I'll lose my baby either say. At least with this option, you get to see her once a week. Fight us, and you get nothing. They left the contract on her bedside table. Hannah stared at it, hands trembling, picked up the pen, hovered over the signature line. She was about to sign, completely broken. This was the absolute lowest point. The phone rang. Samuel. Hannah, don't sign anything, please. We'll find another way. Hannah's voice was hollow. There is no other way. I'm alone. Sarah betrayed me. Catherine left. You can't help. Mary can't fight them alone. I won't let you give up. You don't have a choice. Neither do I. She hung up, stared at the contract. Single tear fell onto the paper. About to sign, then the baby kicked. Strong kick. Then another. Then another. Insistent. Powerful. Hannah put her hand on her belly. Baby kicked exactly where her hand was, responding to her touch. Moment of connection. Hannah whispered to her belly, "You're fighting. Even now, you're fighting to stay alive." She realized, if her unborn daughter won't give up, how can I? Baby kicked again. Harder. Okay, okay, baby girl, I hear you. Memory flooded back. Young Hannah, age 8, and her mother Laura in their small apartment. Why did my father leave us? Laura kneeling to daughter's level. Baby, sometimes people run from fights they think they can't win. I ran because I was afraid. I was wrong to run. Were you scared? Terrified, but you know what I learned? Fear doesn't protect you. Fighting does, even when you're scared, especially when you're scared. You fight. Promise me something. Promise me you'll never let fear win. Promise me you'll always fight for what matters. I promise, Mama. Laura touching Hannah's heart. You're stronger than me. You're stronger than you know. Back to present, Hannah touching her mother's locket. I promised you, Mama, I won't run. Her mother ran from Samuel's powerful family. She wouldn't repeat that mistake. She'd break the cycle. Hannah picked up the contract, ripped it in half. Nurse Helen entered just as Hannah ripped the contract. Good, don't sign anything. I don't know how to fight him. I have nothing. That's not true. You have the truth, and you have people willing to risk everything to tell it. Helen sat beside Hannah's bed. I was Jennifer's nurse 5 years ago. I saw the bruises. I photographed them. I tried to report them. I was silenced. I've lived with that guilt every single day, wondering if I'd fought harder. Would she still be alive? Would her baby? I won't make that mistake again. I don't care what they do to me. I'm testifying. She handed Hannah a thick folder. Medical records, photographs, documentation. They'll destroy you, Hannah said. Let them try. I'm 62 years old. I've worked this ICU for 30 years. I'm not afraid of Grant Donovan. David Ross appeared next, nervous but determined. I've been following the news. I can't stay silent anymore. They'll come after you. I have 3 daughters. I've taught them their whole lives to be brave, to stand up to bullies. How can I tell them that if I don't do it myself? He provided GPS logs from the night Jennifer died, receipts, documentation. The night Jennifer died, I drove Grant and Bella to a cabin outside the city. They stayed until 3 in the morning. Grant paid me $100,000 to forget. I took the money. I've hated myself ever since, but I kept the evidence, just in case. I think part of me always knew this day would come. Hannah looked at Helen, David, Mary, who never left. These people risking everything for her. My whole life, people told me I wasn't strong enough. Grant convinced me I was nothing. But you know what? I'm a mother. That's all I need to be. I'm not signing, I'm not running. I'm fighting, and I'm going to win. She called Samuel. I need you to get me in front of a judge. I have something to say. That's my daughter. Hannah's hospital room transformed into a command center. Mary, Rhodes, Samuel unofficially advising, Helen, David. Evidence spread across every surface. Rhodes laid out what they had. Jennifer's medical records showing pattern of abuse. GPS data placing Grant and Bella at the scene. Financial records showing payoffs. Mary frowned. We need more. We need something that directly ties Bella to Jennifer's death. Samuel leaned forward. What about phone records from that night? Rhodes had shook his head. They were erased from the official investigation, but cellular towers keep data for 7 years. If I can get a warrant. I can't get you a warrant anymore, Samuel said, but I know someone who can. He called a federal judge colleague. Within hours, warrant approved. Phone records showed Bella called 911 at 11:47 on the night Jennifer died. Call lasted 4 seconds, hung up before dispatch answered. Recording still existed in 911 archives. Rhodes obtained the recording. Bella's voice saying, "There's been an accident at..." Click, this proves she was at the scene. Sarah appeared at the hospital room door. looking broken. I know you probably hate me. Sarah, let me say this. I lied in that deposition. Everything I said was a lie. They threatened my mother, my business, everything. But I can't live with myself. I can't let you lose your baby because I was a coward. She handed Mary a USB drive. I recorded the conversation where Grant's lawyer threatened me. Every word. Sarah, I don't care. My conscience is worth more than my diner. She provided a sworn affidavit recanting her deposition. Hannah and Sarah embraced, both crying. I forgive you. Don't forgive me yet. I'm not done fighting. Mary outlined their strategy. Grant is holding a charity gala tomorrow night, Domestic Violence Prevention Fund. The irony is stunning. Rhodes added, he's planning to announce a major donation. Rebuild his public image. That's where we expose him, Mary said. In front of cameras, press, his donors, everyone. Samuel leaned in. How do we get the evidence in front of them? I have a contact in FBI white-collar crimes, Rhodes said. They've been building a case against Grant for years. Money laundering, fraud. They just needed evidence. We give them everything. They show up at the gala with federal warrants. Mary nodded. But we need Bella to confess. She's the weak link. David spoke up. I can get her talking. She still thinks I'm on their side. The plan, David wears a wire, gets Bella to admit involvement in Jennifer's death. David was fitted with an FBI wire. Practice conversation with Rhodes coaching. Get her talking about the past. Make her feel safe. Then ask about Jennifer. What if she doesn't take the bait? Then we go with what we have. But if she confesses on tape, game over. An FBI agent stepped in. We'll be listening in real time. The moment she implicates herself, we move in. David was nervous but committed. For Jennifer and for Hannah. But that night, Despair Peak 3 arrived. A delivery came to Hannah's hospital room. Expensive gift basket. Card said, for baby Grace, congratulations. No sender name. Hannah opened it. Baby clothes, teddy bear, soft blanket. At the bottom, newspaper clipping from 5 years ago. Headline, Tech Executive's Wife Dies in Tragic Balcony Fall. Article about Jennifer's death. Handwritten note in the basket. Accidents happen, especially in hospitals. Sleep deprivation causes mistakes. Sign the papers. Final warning. Hannah's blood ran cold. Sarah called security immediately. That night, 2 in the morning, Hannah was sleeping fitfully. Suddenly, the IV machine started beeping erratically. Alarms blaring, a nurse rushed in. Something's wrong with your drip. She discovered the IV bag had been tampered with. Solution contaminated. Could have caused serious harm to the baby. Security reviewed footage. Showed a person in hospital scrubs and mask entering Hannah's room at 1:30. Adjusted the IV bag, left. That's not one of our staff. Wrong badge, wrong uniform. Hannah realized Grant sent someone to hurt her, make it look like a medical error. She wasn't safe even in the hospital. Sarah refused to leave Hannah's side, slept in a chair beside the bed. I'm not letting you out of my sight. Hannah, terrified, couldn't sleep. Every sound in the hallway made her jump. He's going to kill me, just like Jennifer. No, he's not, because tomorrow we end this. What if we fail? Then we fail together. But at least we fought. Hannah touched her belly. Hold on, baby girl. Just one more day, please. This was Despair Peak 3. She genuinely believed she might not survive the next 24 hours. Morning of the gala arrived. A bailiff served Hannah with new papers. Grant had filed emergency custody hearing for 8 the next morning. Legal brief argued, mother's life is in danger due to her own instability. Child must be removed immediately upon birth for safety. New judge, possibly corrupt, had indicated he'd rule in Grant's favor. If you lose tomorrow, they take the baby the moment she's born, Mary said. This is our last chance. So we have 18 hours? Less. The gala is our only shot. If we don't destroy him tonight, you lose her forever. David Ross called Mary, panicking. I can't do this. They'll kill me. I'm sorry. I thought I could, but David, please. I have a family. I can't. He hung up. The team was devastated. Plan falling apart. Rhodes swore, "We need him. Without his testimony placing them at the cabin, we don't have enough." Hannah made a decision. "Take me to him." "Hannah, you should rest." "I'm not resting. I'm fighting. Let's go." They found David at his home, packing to flee. Hannah, still weak, in a wheelchair, confronted him. "I'm sorry, I can't." "Look at me, look at my face." She pulled out an ultrasound photo. "This is Grace. She's 28 weeks old. If you don't testify, Grant takes her the moment she's born. She'll grow up thinking her mother abandoned her. She'll never know I fought for her. Your daughters have a father who comes home every night. Grace won't have that unless you help us." David was crying. "I'm not asking you to be a hero. I'm asking you to tell the truth. That's all. Just tell the truth." Long pause. "Okay, I'll do it." But they were running late. Gala started in 30 minutes. Grand Seattle Hotel ballrooms sparkled like a jewel box. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across marble floors. Hundreds of guests in formal wear mingled beneath soaring ceilings adorned with gold leaf. White orchids cascaded from every table. A string quartet played softly in the corner. The banner stretched across the stage read, "Donovan Foundation, Protecting Women in Crisis." The audacity was breathtaking. Grant Donovan worked the room in a designer tuxedo that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. All charm, all smiles, shaking hands with Seattle's elite. Tech executives, politicians, philanthropists, people who controlled this city with their checkbooks and connections. Bella Hart glided beside him in a white gown that clung to her figure like liquid silk, playing the devoted partner, touching his arm, laughing at donors' jokes, the perfect accessory to his carefully crafted image. Press everywhere, cameras filming, society photographers capturing every angle. This was Grant's comeback moment, his redemption arc. The billionaire wronged by an unstable wife, bravely supporting domestic violence victims despite his own trauma. The narrative was perfect. Except it was built on lies and blood. FBI agents scattered through the crowd, undercover, blending in. One posed as a waiter, another as a photographer, a third chatting with donors about tech investments, all wearing concealed earpieces, and all waiting for the signal. Outside, in an unmarked van, Detective Michael Rhodes monitored the wire. Headphones on, recording equipment ready, watching David Ross's vital signs on a screen. Heart rate elevated but steady. Mary stood near the service entrance with a laptop, ready to cue the screens, ready to expose everything. Hannah discharged herself from the hospital 3 hours ago against every doctor's advice. She wore a simple black maternity dress Sarah had brought her. No jewelry except her mother's locket. Minimal makeup, pale but determined. Sarah helped her through the side entrance. "You sure about this?" "I've never been more sure of anything." They made their way through the service corridors. Hannah moved slowly, her body still healing, her baby kicking steadily. Grace was quiet now, as if she knew, as if she understood this was the moment that would determine their future. Guests noticed Hannah immediately. Whispers rippled through the ballroom. Heads turning, eyes widening. The pregnant woman at the center of the scandal. Here, now, at her husband's charity gala. Grant saw her across the room. His smile faltered for just a microsecond, then returned, wider, more confident. He thought he'd won, thought she'd signed the papers, thought she'd given up. He had no idea what was coming. Backstage, David Ross found Bella near the catering area. His hands were sweating. The wire felt like it was burning through his shirt, but he forced himself to smile, to look casual. "Bella, been a while." She turned, suspicious. "David, what are you doing here?" "Wanted to make sure you and Grant were still protected. Lot of attention on that old case lately." Bella relaxed slightly, accepted a champagne flute from a passing waiter. "We're fine. Ancient history." "You sure? I've been hearing whispers. Detectives asking questions." Her hand tightened on the champagne glass. "What kind of questions?" "About that night, about Jennifer." "We were never there. We were at the cabin, remember? All night." David stepped closer, lowered his voice. "Right, but you know how it is. People dig, people talk. What if someone found something we missed?" "We didn't miss anything." But her voice wavered. "Bella, come on. It's me. We both know what really happened on that balcony. Long pause, Bella looked around, making sure no one was close enough to hear. The music was loud, conversations creating cover. She leaned in. "We should have gotten rid of you years ago," she whispered. "You know too much. You're a liability. I've kept your secret for 5 years, haven't said a word to anyone, and you better keep it that way." What about Hannah, though? She's asking the same questions Jennifer did about the offshore accounts, the hidden money, the pattern. Bella's face hardened. "Hannah won't be a problem much longer. Grant has it handled." "Like he handled Jennifer?" Bella's eyes flashed, then she smiled. Cold, cruel. Jennifer was going to ruin everything. The prenup, the business, the life we'd built. She was going to take it all. So what happened? Grant had no choice. Bella was caught up in it now. The champagne loosening her tongue, the stress of maintaining the lie for 5 years. She called the cops, had her phone out, was screaming about evidence, about going to the FBI. And I helped clean up the scene, her voice barely audible. Wiped the railing, got rid of her phone, we're in this together. Till death. In the van, Rhodes hit record. "We got her." FBI agents began moving into position. Grant took the stage, microphone in hand. The room quieted, all eyes on him. "Tonight," Inti began, voice warm and sincere, "we gather to support the most vulnerable among us. Women facing domestic violence. Women who need our protection, our resources, our compassion." Applause rippled through the crowd. "I know firsthand the importance of this cause." He paused, perfectly timed. "My own wife has struggled with mental health challenges during her pregnancy. It's been difficult, heartbreaking. Watching someone you love suffer." Some guests shifted uncomfortably. They'd seen the news, the viral videos, the conflicting narratives. "But it's made me realize how critical support systems are, how important it is that we provide help to those who need it most. That's why tonight, I'm proud to announce a $5 million donation to—" "Stop!" Hannah's voice cut through the ballroom, amplified by the microphone Mary had arranged. Clear, strong, unwavering. Everyone turned. Hannah stood at the back of the room, Sarah supporting her, visibly pregnant, pale but fierce. The woman Grant had tried to destroy. Security began moving toward her. "Don't!" Samuel's voice came from the entrance. He'd arrived moments before, not as a judge now, as a father. "Let her speak." The security guards hesitated, looked to Grant, who stood frozen on stage. "Everything he just said is a lie," Hannah continued, walking slowly down the center aisle. Every eye on her, every camera filming. "I'm Hannah Donovan. I'm 7 months pregnant with this man's child, and he's trying to kill me, just like he killed his first pregnant wife 5 years ago." Chaos erupted, gasps, shouts, guests standing, Grant's face drained of color. "She's unwell," Grant said into the microphone, trying to regain control. "Security, please escort her." "Jennifer Reynolds," Hannah interrupted, louder now. 26 years old, 26 weeks pregnant, died in a fall from your penthouse balcony. "But it wasn't a fall, was it, Grant?" Mary cued Rhodes. The massive screens around the ballroom flickered to life. Split-screen display, multiple angles. Screen 1. Unedited courtroom footage. Bella rushing toward Hannah. The vicious kick. Hannah collapsing, some blood spreading. Screen 2. Jennifer's medical records. Dated entries. Patient reports controlling behavior. Bruising inconsistent with accidental injury. Defensive wounds on hands and forearms. Screen 3. Financial records. Wire transfers. Offshore accounts. A payment of $500,000 to the King County Medical Examiner's Office Charitable Fund, dated 1 week after Jennifer's death. Screen 4, GPS data, 2 phones, Grant's and Bella's, both showing location at the penthouse at Duress. Timestamp 11:47 p.m. The night Jennifer died. Screen 5, 911 call recording. Audio waveform visualization. Bella's voice. "There's been an accident at..." Click, 4 seconds. Hang up. Screen 6, wire recording from tonight. Playing now, Bella's voice crystal clear. Grant had no choice, and I helped clean up the scene. We're in this together. Till death. The ballroom exploded. Guests on their feet, shouting, cameras recording everything. Live news feeds broadcasting to millions. Grant grabbed the microphone. This is a setup. She's lying. All of this is fabricated. Bella saw the 911 recording playing, saw her own damning words on screen. Panic flooded her face. Grant, they have everything. Shut up, Bella. He turned back to the cameras, desperate now. I barely knew Miss Hart. She was obsessed with me, a stalker. I had no idea she was involved in... Bella snapped. Years of being the secret mistress, years of promises, years of waiting for him to choose her. And now he was throwing her away, discarding her like trash. She grabbed the microphone from his hands. Obsessed? I helped you. Bella, don't. I was there that night. I watched you push her. I helped you stage the scene. I've protected you for 5 years. The room went silent, shock rippling through the crowd. Bella was hysterical now, tears streaming, makeup running, the perfect facade shattered. You promised me. You said once the baby was gone, we'd be together. Once Jennifer was out of the way. Once Hannah signed the papers. You promised. You're insane. Grant tried to grab her. Federal agents flooded the stage from multiple directions, weapons drawn, badges visible. Grant Donovan, you're under arrest for murder in the first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, wire fraud, and obstruction of justice. This is ridiculous. I'm Grant Donovan. Do you know who I am? I'll have your badges. Handcuffs clicked around his wrists. Cold metal. Final. A second agent moved toward Bella. Bella Hart, you're under arrest as accessory to murder, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. Bella didn't resist, just stood there, crying. The white gown now seeming like a mockery. The mistress who'd helped cover up a murder, who'd attacked another pregnant woman in open court, who'd confessed everything on live television. Cameras captured it all, every moment, every word, broadcasting live to news stations, streaming online, going viral in real time. Grant and Bella were led out in handcuffs. The crowd parted, some guests applauding, others silent, stunned. Grant saw Hannah standing there as they walked past, his face twisted with venom. This isn't over. Hannah met his eyes, calm, steady. Yes, it is. Samuel appeared beside her, put his arm around her shoulders, the judge and his daughter. Together, finally, Grant was taken away, still shouting, still threatening, but the sound faded, disappeared. Gone. Hannah's knees buckled, the adrenaline draining. Sarah caught her, held her up. I got you, honey. I got you. Hannah collapsed into Sarah's arms, sobbing, not from sadness, not from fear, from relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. It was finally over, 6 months later. Federal courthouse, King County, courtroom 3, packed to capacity. Hannah sat in the gallery holding infant Grace, 3 months old, healthy, beautiful, perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, bright eyes that looked up at her mother with complete trust. Samuel beside her, publicly acknowledged as her father now. The DNA results had been released as part of the trial evidence. The media had covered it extensively. Judge discovers long-lost daughter while presiding over her abuse case. Sarah on her other side. The Sunrise Diner temporarily closed for the day. Nothing was more important than being here, witnessing justice. Mary sat at the prosecutor's table. She joined the prosecution team officially. Her knowledge of the case invaluable, her dedication absolute. This was personal for her now, for Jennifer, for Hannah, for every woman Grant had hurt. The jury had deliberated for 3 days, 72 hours of waiting, hoping, praying. Hannah had barely slept, kept checking her phone for updates, holding Grace close, whispering promises that everything would be okay. The jury returned this morning, somber faces, serious expressions. Grant sat at the defense table, prison jumpsuit instead of designer suits, hair unkempt, face gaunt. 6 months in county jail awaiting trial had stripped away the polished veneer, revealed the monster underneath. His legal team sat beside him, the best lawyers money could buy. They'd fought hard, challenged evidence, attacked witnesses, tried every trick, but the evidence was overwhelming. The confessions on tape, the financial records, the GPS data, Jennifer's medical files, Helen's testimony, David's testimony, Rhodes's investigation. The truth buried for 5 years had finally come to light. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The Honorable Patricia Winters, 68 years old, no nonsense, fair. She'd presided over the trial with an iron fist, allowed no grandstanding, no theatrics, just evidence and facts. Please be seated. Her voice cut through the tension. The jury foreman stood, middle-aged man, teacher, father of 3 daughters. He'd been crying. Hannah could see the redness around his eyes. In the matter of the United States versus Grant Donovan, Judge Winters said, has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On the charge of murder in the first degree of Jennifer Reynolds, how do you find? Guilty? The word echoed through the courtroom. Gasps, murmurs. Hannah felt tears streaming down her face. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder? Guilty. Wire fraud? Guilty. Obstruction of justice? Guilty. Grant stood, face red. This is a joke. I'll appeal. I'll take this all the way to the Supreme Court. You can't. Judge Winters slammed her gavel. Mr. Donovan, you will remain silent or I will have you removed. His lawyers pulled him back into his seat, but he kept muttering, kept threatening. Mr. Donovan, Judge Winters continued, her voice ice cold, you have been found guilty by a jury of your peers. The evidence presented was overwhelming. Your actions resulted in the death of Jennifer Reynolds and her unborn child. Your subsequent attempts to harm Hannah Miller and her unborn child demonstrate a pattern of violence, manipulation, and complete disregard for human life. She paused, looked directly at him. You are sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in applause. Judge Winters allowed it, just for a moment. Grant was shouting now, struggling against the bailiffs. I'm Grant Donovan. I built an empire. I employ thousands. I'm worth billions. You can't do this to me. But they could, and they did. He was led away. Still screaming, still denying. But it didn't matter. The cage had finally closed. Bella's trial was shorter. She'd taken a plea deal, testified against Grant in exchange for a reduced sentence. The prosecution wanted the bigger fish, the mastermind, the serial abuser. In the matter of the United States versus Bella Hart, Judge Winters said, the defendant has pleaded guilty to accessory to murder after the fact, conspiracy and assault. Taking into account her cooperation with the prosecution, this court sentences her to 25 years in federal prison. Eligibility for parole after 15 years. Bella stood quietly, no longer the glamorous mistress, just a broken woman who'd made terrible choices. Who'd helped cover up a murder? Who'd attacked a pregnant woman in a courthouse? She looked at Hannah as they led her away. Mouthed something. Hannah couldn't tell what. Didn't care. Outside the courthouse, media frenzy, reporters shouting questions, cameras everywhere. Satellite trucks lining the street. Samuel guided Hannah to a waiting car. Sarah ran interference, blocking cameras, creating space. Hannah, how do you feel about the verdict? Do you forgive Bella Hart? What's next for you? Hannah didn't answer, just held Grace close, protected her daughter from the chaos. They drove to Hannah's apartment, modest but filled with light, fresh paint, secondhand furniture. Not luxurious, but safe, earned, hers. Samuel had offered to help financially. She'd accepted some, enough to cover first and last month's rent. Security deposit, but she wanted to rebuild on her own terms, stand on her own feet. She'd started working part-time at the domestic violence shelter, answering phones, helping women escape, sharing her story when it helped, staying silent when it didn't. The apartment became a gathering place. Sunday brunches, Samuel installing bookshelves, Sarah bringing pastries from the diner, Mary stopping by with legal updates. Grace was the center of it all, laughing, growing, thriving, completely unaware of the darkness she'd been born into. The battle fought before she took her first breath. Hannah documented everything. Photos, videos, journal entries. Someday Grace would ask about her father. Someday Hannah would tell her. Age-appropriate versions at first. Then the full truth when she was ready. But for now, Grace was just a baby. Perfect. Innocent. Loved beyond measure. The world moved on. The viral videos faded from social media. New scandals took over headlines. Grant Donovan became old news. Bella Hart forgotten. But for the people whose lives had been touched, nothing would ever be the same. Helen visited once a month, bringing gifts for Grace. Medical expertise when Hannah worried about normal baby things. Rashes, fevers, sleep schedules. "You're doing great," Helen always said. "Grace is thriving. You both are." David Ross sent cards on holidays. Never visited. The guilt still too heavy. But he'd done the right thing in the end. Worn the wire, testified, helped bring justice for Jennifer. That had to count for something. Rhodes joined the FBI full-time. Specialized unit focused on domestic violence cases. Using everything he'd learned from Jennifer's case. From Hannah's case. Dedicated to stopping men like Grant before they killed. Mary became a minor celebrity. Invited to speak at law schools, legal conferences, talk shows. The public defender who took down a billionaire. The woman who refused to give up even when outmatched. She used her platform to advocate for better funding for legal aid, more resources for domestic violence victims, mandatory reporting for medical professionals who saw signs of abuse. Sarah's diner became busier. People came to see the place where Hannah and Sarah had planned their strategy, the booth where they'd sat when everything seemed hopeless, the kitchen where Sarah had made soup Hannah couldn't eat during the darkest days. Sarah didn't capitalize on it, didn't raise prices, didn't put up photos or make it a tourist attraction, just kept serving good food, being kind, helping people, the way she always had. Samuel retired from the bench 6 months after the trial, spent his time with Hannah and Grace, making up for 30 lost years, learning to be a grandfather, reading board books, making silly faces, holding Grace while Hannah showered or napped or just breathed. He told stories about Laura, the woman he'd loved, the woman who'd run to protect her unborn daughter, the woman he'd searched for until the day she died. "She would have been so proud of you," he said one Sunday. Grace asleep in his arms. "The way you fought, the way you refused to give up. That's Laura's strength in you." Hannah touched her mother's locket. "I wish she'd known you would have chosen her. I wish I'd tried harder to find her, to show her she didn't have to run." They sat in comfortable silence, Grace breathing softly. The afternoon sun streaming through windows. Hannah started therapy. Once a week, then twice, working through the trauma, the betrayal, the fear, the complex PTSD that came from loving someone who'd wanted to destroy her. It was hard, painful, exhausting. Some sessions she cried for the full hour. Some sessions she couldn't speak at all, just sat there, trembling, remembering. But slowly, piece by piece, she rebuilt herself. Not the same person she'd been before Grant. That Hannah was gone, killed the night he trapped her against the wall, the night she realized she was married to a monster. This Hannah was different, stronger, wiser, more cautious, but also more compassionate. She understood suffering now, understood how easy it was to fall into an abuser's trap, how the isolation happened gradually, how the control felt like love at first. She didn't judge women who stayed, didn't ask why they didn't just leave. She knew why, because she'd lived it. Grace grew, started crawling at 6 months, pulled herself up at 9, took her first steps 3 days after her first birthday. Hannah documented everything, not just for Grace, but for herself. Proof that life went on, that happiness was possible, that trauma didn't have to be the end of the story. On quiet nights, after Grace was asleep, Hannah would open her laptop, check email. Most were supportive, people thanking her for speaking out, sharing their own stories, asking for advice. But sometimes there were messages like Rachel's, the ones that made everything worth it. "Your story saved my life. I left because of you. My baby is safe because you were brave. Hannah answered every single one, even when she was exhausted, even when reliving her story hurt. Because if her pain could help someone else escape, it mattered. She couldn't save everyone, but she could save some, and that was enough. Hannah waited until Grace's first birthday to finish the letter. The one she'd been writing in pieces for months. The one that would explain everything when the time came. She sat at her small desk, Grace asleep in the next room. The apartment quiet, peaceful, safe. She opened the journal, read the words she'd written so carefully, then added the final section. Dear Grace, by the time you read this, you'll be old enough to understand. This is the story of how hard I fought to keep you. You kicked me that day. Remember, I've told you this story. The day I almost gave up. Almost signed the papers that would have taken you away from me forever. You kicked so hard, like you were saying, don't quit, Mama. Don't let them win. I heard you. I listened. Your father was not a good man. I wish I could tell you different. But lying to you would dishonor your intelligence and my promise to always tell you the truth. He was charming, convincing, dangerous. He hurt me. He killed another woman. He would have hurt you. These are facts, painful but true. But you need to know something important. His choices were his own. His cruelty, his violence, his evil. None of that was because of you. You are not responsible for the circumstances of your birth. You are not defined by your father's actions. You are your own person. Beautiful, strong, kind, brave. You have your grandfather's sense of justice, your Aunt Sarah's loyalty, your grandmother's strength, all the best parts of people who loved you before you were even born. I won't lie and say I'm not scared sometimes. There are nights I wake up from nightmares. Days when I see a man who looks like your father and my heart races. Moments when I check the locks 3 times before bed. Trauma doesn't disappear. It becomes part of you, changes you, shapes you, but it doesn't have to define you. I learned that you don't need to be fearless to be brave. You just need one reason to fight. You were my reason. You still are. When you're older, you might wonder if I regret anything. Meeting your father, the pain, the fear, the fight, the permanent scars on my soul. I don't, because all of it led to you. And you, my darling girl, are worth everything. Someday you might face your own battles. Life will throw challenges at you. People might try to make you feel small, powerless, afraid, worthless. When that happens, remember this. You come from survivors. Your grandmother ran to protect you before you were born. Your grandfather searched for 30 years. Your mother fought an empire with nothing but truth and a few brave people willing to stand beside her. You have strength in your blood, courage in your bones, love in your heart. Use them. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for others. Don't let fear win. And always, always remember that asking for help isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's survival. It's strength. I had an army: Sarah, Samuel, Mary, Helen, David, Rhodes. People who risked everything because they believed in justice, in protecting the vulnerable, in doing what's right even when it's hard, even when it costs them. Build your own army. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who fight beside you, who remind you of your worth when you forget. And if you ever feel alone, remember, I'm here. Always, your grandfather is here. Aunt Sarah, all of us, we're your army now, forever. Some scars never fully heal. Some nightmares don't completely fade. But you know what? I'm still here. We're growing. And that's what victory looks like. Not perfect, not easy, not without cost, but real, earned, ours. I love you more than words can express, more than the stars in the sky, more than all the oceans combined, more than my own life. You saved me as much as I saved you. Never forget that. Love always and forever, Mom. Hannah closed the journal, placed it in the lockbox in her closet. Someday, years from now, Grace would read it, understand, know how much she was loved, how hard Hannah had fought. She checked on Grace one more time, her daughter sleeping peacefully, thumb in mouth, teddy bear tucked under her arm, completely safe, completely loved. Hannah walked to the living room, looked out at the Seattle skyline, lights twinkling in the darkness, the city moving on, living, breathing, changing. Somewhere out there, Grant sat in a prison cell, maximum security, 23 hours a day in solitary. Appeals denied one after another. Life without parole meant exactly that. He would die in that cell, Bella in another prison. 15 years before parole eligibility. Grace would be a teenager by then, old enough to understand, old enough to know why mommy sometimes got scared. Hannah didn't feel satisfaction in their suffering, just relief that they couldn't hurt anyone else, that their reign of terror had ended. She picked up her phone, sent her nightly text. To Sarah, "Love you, see you Sunday." Reply came immediately, "Love you too, honey, sweet dreams." To Samuel, "Good night, Dad." His reply, "Good night, sweetheart. Give my beautiful granddaughter a kiss from Grandpa." Hannah smiled, set the phone down, made tea, sat on her small couch. The apartment was quiet, peaceful, safe, everything she'd fought for, everything she'd almost lost. Tomorrow she'd wake early, feed Grace, take her to the park, visit Samuel for lunch, stop by the shelter to help organize donations. Normal things, beautiful things, free things. The life she'd earned, the life she'd nearly died protecting, the life she'd never take for granted again. Hannah walked to her bedroom, changed into pajamas, brushed her teeth, looked at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back was different from the one who'd married Grant Donovan. Older, wiser, scarred, but stronger. She touched her mother's locket one more time. "I kept my promise, Mama. I fought. I didn't let fear win." She climbed into bed, pulled the covers up, closed her eyes. And for the first time in a very long time, Hannah Miller slept peacefully through the entire night. No nightmares, no fear, no looking over her shoulder. Just rest, just peace, just the quiet knowledge that she was safe. Her daughter was safe. Her father was in her life. Her friends were loyal. Her future was her own. Some stories don't have perfect endings. Some wounds leave permanent scars. Some battles cost more than we want to pay. But Hannah won the war that mattered most. She kept her daughter. She survived. She built a life worth living. And in the end, that was victory enough.